Hey everyone, welcome back to Firsthand Globetrotting. I'm back with part 4 of my trip to Riviera Maya in Mexico. This entire trip has been nearly perfect, and there's even more great stuff to come. My resort has been incredible, the weather has been perfect, the food has been delicious, plus I got to go explore one of the wonders of the world, swim in underground cenotes, explore a nearby city, and see a high-flying cultural ritual. In case you missed the first 3 parts, the links are in the video description. On to day 8, and my first stop is down at the beach for some snorkeling. The water was so calm and crystal clear today, just look at all the fish out there swimming around me. It was so cool just floating around in the water with fish surrounding me on every side. The bottom is really sandy, so when it's wavy, everything gets all stirred up and turns the water into a cloudy mess. But today the visibility was absolutely perfect. And nearby there were some rocky areas with even more fish swimming around and hiding in the rocks. The great thing is that the snorkeling spots are right at the resort's beach, so I can swim with the fish whenever I want. One minute you have your head underwater checking out the undersea world, and then when you pop back up you're staring at your hotel sparkling in the sunshine. After I hopped out of the water, I decided to spend a little more time exploring some of the other hotels. The more I walk around this place, the more I realize that every inch of it is equally nice. Remember how my hotel and the one next to it have angel statues in all the buildings? Well, the 2 hotels I was walking through today were filled with these really cool Mayan statues. I guess that makes it easier to figure out where you are in case you have a few too many drinks and get lost. The open-air design of all the hotels, mixed with the statues and artwork and little gardens, really give the resort a nice style. It definitely makes you feel like you're relaxing on a Mexican beach instead of being in some huge high-rise hotel tower. And I ended up finding a little adults-only pool hidden between 2 of the hotel buildings. I never found the main pool areas to be too loud, but it was definitely a lot more quiet and relaxed here. For lunch, I changed it up a bit and grabbed a bite to eat at the sports bar in the Mayan Mall. It's a way smaller selection and more of a burgers and fries menu, but I'd been meaning to pop my head in and check this place out. The front part was a pretty standard sports bar with a bunch of TVs everywhere. But towards the back, it turns into more of an arcade. Right in the middle, there are a few lanes for bowling in case you want to knock down a few pins. Then all around it are different arcade machines and video games, some pool, foosball, and air hockey tables, and even some giant pool tables on the floor. And out the side door they have a mini golf course. How cool is that? I figured out that the more I explore this place, the more unexpected stuff I end up finding. Across from the mini golf they have an aerial park with some zip lines and go-karts and stuff like that. It was one of the things on the resort you could pay extra to do. But honestly, I was so busy with all the free stuff that I didn't have time for any of those things. The rest of the day I was just relaxing under the palm trees and living the good life. One of the reasons I had a light lunch was that I knew I was going to the steakhouse for dinner. I started off with a nice sampler of appetizers, which worked out great since there was a lot of things I wanted to try. And then a nice hot bowl of chicken soup. But of course, the steak was the main event. A nice big piece of beef with a potato and corn to make sure I was extra stuffed. And even though I was completely full, I couldn't turn down dessert, could I? Tonight's entertainment was the magic show. I guess I'm kind of a big kid at heart because as soon as I saw that on the schedule, I knew I wanted to see it. And it definitely delivered with all of the classic magic tricks you'd expect. There was an empty flaming cage and he made his assistant appear inside of it. Any good magician knows how to do a quick wardrobe switch, so he and his assistant spent some time changing their clothes on stage. And of course, there was a trick where the assistant was put in a box that was set on fire, but miraculously she got herself out before things got too bad. The magician showed his escape skills too. After being carefully tied to a pole with plastic wrap, he was able to get out in a split second while hidden behind a curtain. And there was even some sort of laser sword battle thing. I have no idea what it had to do with magic, but maybe it was just there to give everyone else in the show a little break. Overall, a really fun show. It gave me all of the fun and showmanship I was wanting from a live magic show and made for some really nice nighttime entertainment. On to day 9, and I was looking forward to getting a little further into the water than I had been on my swims. Remember the water sports area the resort has? Well, they have these catamaran sailboats you can take out, and that seemed like a pretty good idea. Only problem was, I had no idea how to sail them. But luckily, one of the guys working there was nice enough to take me out for a trip on one. And I'm so happy I got to go out. The sun was shining, the weather was incredible, and the water was absolutely beautiful. I've spent a lot of time at the resort and on the beach, but it was really cool getting to see the entire place end to end. It really gives you the best view of just how huge the resort is. And I mean, look at that incredible blue-green water. It was so peaceful just looking down at it splashing off the boat as we skipped along on top of it. I'm an absolute sucker for boat rides, so I had an amazing time out there. The boat ride gave me a view of the entire beach, so when I got back to land, I was inspired to walk from one end of it to the other. As I made my way down towards the start, I was able to check out a bunch of the cool statues they have looking out over the ocean. Most of them are Mayan statues with a few animals mixed in, and it's almost like they're standing guard protecting the resort. I noticed they had some beachfront massage huts in case you're looking to get super relaxed by the waves. The end I started from was by the Palace Hotel. I actually really liked the look of it. It reminded me of my hotel, but a little bit newer. I'd definitely consider staying there if I came back again. Walking to the other end of the beach is about 1.5 kilometers, so about 2 miles round trip. There's a pretty great viewpoint at the start, since you can see the entire beach stretching out in front of you as far as you can see. As I started to walk, it was just a never-ending sea of sand, palm trees, and beach chairs. But the nice thing was, because the beach was so long and spread out, it was never really all that packed. Some spots definitely had more people than others, but it seemed like everyone always had plenty of space for themselves. On my entire trip, I never had any trouble finding a beach chair near my hotel, and it looked equally spread out everywhere I went. The beach area was a mixture of perfect, super sandy areas and some much more rocky and jagged spots. Obviously, everyone went to the sandy spots to swim and play in the water. But the rocky spots actually made for really good snorkeling since a lot of the sea life would hide out there. I really liked taking this nice, peaceful walk down the beach. Not only did I have the sun shining on me and the sound of waves rolling over the beach, but it was nice to get in a little bit more exercise on this trip. As you've seen in my videos, I've basically been eating great food non-stop, so a little more walking definitely helped. But even though it was hot, the great thing was that I was never very far away from one of the pool bars, so I could stop in and grab a water whenever I wanted. Right in the middle of the walk, you get to the Riviera Maya sign that I showed you before. On the other side of it, there's a pier you can walk out on. They have a little spot at the end where people were allowed to feed the fish. So there were always dozens of them swimming around the surface looking for a snack. On the second half of my walk, I found some way longer stretches of sand. If you're someone who loves splashing in the water and don't plan on doing much snorkeling, this would be the spot for you. As I was walking, every now and then I'd see a beach volleyball court with a game going on. And they even had little soccer nets for games of beach soccer. Towards the end of the beach, I could start seeing the Riviera Hotel. It's an adults-only hotel and the newest and highest-end one on the resort. But honestly, I found it looked really out of place. It's way blockier than the other hotels and really sticks out and is pretty in your face. One of the things I really liked about the other hotel buildings is that they're small and kind of get hidden away behind the palm trees. This one just didn't have the Riviera Maya look to it, I guess. Inside is probably amazing, and there seem to be some fantastic perks to staying there, but the look of it just wasn't for me. Made me pretty happy I was down at the other end of the resort where I couldn't see the Riviera. But I finally made it all the way to the end of the beach. There was nowhere else left to walk, so I turned around and headed back. A great way to see every inch of beach at the resort, and I'm really glad I did it. I spent a little more time wandering around the resort before dinner. It was seafood night at the buffet, so even more good eating. Tonight's show was Guys vs. Girls. It was an audience participation show, but really wasn't my thing. After all of the really fun shows I've seen over the past few days, I think I've been spoiled by how good the performers have been. So this one that was just some people out of the crowd being silly didn't quite stack up. That's it for this video. Another couple of magical days making the most of this amazing trip to Mexico. Make sure to come back and check out part 5 of my video. Look for a link in the description. I still need to watch a breathtaking sunrise, swim with some sea turtles, swim in a jungle cenote, eat even more great food, and make the most of the last few days at my resort. Can you believe I've already been here for 9 days? At least I have a few more days left to enjoy. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. While you're at it, like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. On Twitter, I'm Firsthand Globe. On Instagram, I'm Firsthand Globetrotting. Follow me on there. And don't forget, it's an incredible world out there, so pick up your passport and do some firsthand globetrotting of your own.